Now, before I started telling you about how to build a school in 3 hours, I want to tell you a bit of the backstory and some of the research that went into it first. So the backstory started in 2003 when I first started giving 10% of my income away to charity, which at the time didn't amount to much because I was living in a rented basement suite, driving a truck with no reverse, and recycling the same 3 t-shirts every 3 days. And you don't even want to hear about my boxer situation. But luckily that changed, and it changed mostly in 2005 when I got into real estate. I'm not sure if you remember, but the real estate market wasn't always like this. It used to be really, really good. And that's when I got into the business, when it was doing that. And I rode the coattails of that market really hard. And then in 2008, I was so busy, I had my biggest year ever in real estate, that I didn't have time to choose where to give that 10% of the money. So it just kind of accumulated in an account. And then in November, I looked at it and realized there's a lot of cash in there. And I thought, wow, this could really make a big difference. But all I know is real estate. I had no idea where to give it. So I sought out the most knowledgeable person on charity in the city, a guy named Zach White, who's sitting right there. He's really tall. And I said, Zach, look, I've got this money saved up. I have no idea where to give it. All I know is condos. Where will it make the biggest impact? And he told me about 3 different charities going on, or projects going on in Africa, one of which he was raising money for at the time, called Free the Children. Within 45 minutes, we had created a beautiful bromance. And I looked at him and I said, Zach, this all sounds fantastic. Let's go check it out. And he said, what do you mean check it out? And we just met. And I said, let's go there. I said, between the money that you've raised and the money that I'm going to give, we've got a lot of cash. This can make a big difference. Let's go to Africa and see for ourselves. And he looked at me like I was nuts. And he looked at me like I was looking right into my soul. And he said, Taylor, we're going to change lives. I'm in 100%. I just got to check with my wife first. And luckily she said yes. And 4 months later, Zach and I went and landed in Uganda. We traveled for 2 days outside the capital city of Uganda to the border of the Congo at the top of the Rwenzori mountain range, where we saw this. And it was beautiful. I was so separated that I remember saying to him, Zach, this is so cool. We are so badass. We're in Uganda. I was like, there's so much. I know there's stuff going on in the Congo right now. I don't know what. I've heard bad things about it. Like, this is dangerous. This is really cool. And I looked at him and I said, Zach, it's so beautiful. There's so many kids everywhere. Zach, why are there so many kids? And he turned to me and looked. He's 6'7". He looked down at me and said, Taylor, 50% of this village has AIDS. Their parents are dead. At that moment, the trip turned from being an adventure, really fun, to being the most transformational experience of my life, because it was the first time I saw the world instead of just my world. And then we went to Kenya, where we met kids who would have to walk 11 kilometers each way every day to collect dirty water that their families would use to cook with, clean with, bathe in, and drink. And then we saw the schools they were learning in, and they're made of mud, dung, and sticks. These tiny little rickety desks. And there's no overhead lights, no electricity, small windows, dirt floors. And just keeping kids coming to learn in this environment, let alone keeping teachers coming to teach, was a massive challenge. But then we saw the schools that Free the Children was building, and they were beautiful. They had skylights and huge windows, and the kids were smiling. They were so happy to be there and learn, and the teachers were happy to be there and come and teach. And 2 weeks after I got back to Canada from that life-changing trip, I got an email from Free the Children saying that the money that Zach had raised was going to build a beautiful school just like that in Kenya. And the money that I had donated was going to build the first library in that region of Kenya and help educate thousands and thousands of kids. And that feeling of contribution, that feeling of changing the world for the better was something I can't put into words, and it's something I became addicted to immediately. It's something I wanted to get all my friends involved in, all my family. I wanted everyone to feel this feeling. I became that, you know when you read a book, like a really good life-changing book, or you watch a documentary and something like clicks in your head and you go, oh, if everyone just read this book or just watched this documentary, the world would be a better place. And everyone would be so much happier. That's who I became. And you go around and telling all your friends to read it, and maybe one does. That's who I became after I came back from Africa. And I was like running around. I was like, you guys have to give. It's unbelievable. It feels incredible. You don't need the new truck. You don't need the house. You don't need anything. Give everything away. It feels so amazing. Hop on the giving train. It's a sweet ride. And we're looking back and being, and no one was getting on. And it was at that moment that I realized that model of fundraising where we have a cause, like AIDS in Uganda and there's bad schools in Kenya, and we go around kind of shoving it down as many people's throats as possible, hoping they'll cough up cash, is not only exhausting, but it was really pissing my friends off. So at that moment, I decided I wanted to get my friends to give on their terms. And I wanted other people to give on their terms. I wanted them to feel the feeling that I had when I found out that I had built a library. I wanted them to feel that out of pleasure and joy, not out of guilt or duty. So I started to do experiments to find out what it was that truly makes people give on their terms. And the first experiment I did was called the $1,000 into $5,000 contest. And in that, I put on my blog and on my Facebook that I would give a free trip to anywhere in North or Central America to the best idea to turn $1,000 into $5,000 for charity. And I got dozens of ideas from 4 different countries, the most memorable and tempting of which came from a young woman in the United States who suggested I get 50 of my male friends together and we all go donate sperm, collecting the $100 that you get per donation. She argued it was a brilliant idea because it was an activity that most of the guys would probably be doing for free that day anyways. And so it should probably be going to benefit a good cause. She didn't win. The next experiment I did was called a $100 giveaway, and in that, I gave 25 of my friends $100 each and said, all you have to do with this money is add at least $20 of your own money, can add as much as you want, at least $20 of your own money, and give it away to charity, then send me a video of you that says who you gave it to, why you gave it to them, and how it made you feel. Some people gave 20, some people gave 40. A friend of mine from Kelowna, Joel, gave 400, and Zach, the guy I went to Africa with, Zach went on Facebook and wrote a post saying, my friend just gave me $100 to put towards this cool cause. I'm putting in $20. I'd love for my friends to get involved too. And overnight, Zach raised $800 from one Facebook post. And that taught me an incredible amount about what people really get involved from. And the next experiment that I did is my favorite by far, and it's hilarious. It's called the Early Entrepreneurs Experiment. And in this, I partnered with a young teacher from an elementary school here in Victoria named Christina. And Christina and I went around to her in her school, and we gave $100 each to 18 classes with the challenge of them turning that $100 into $500 for charity. And we said if they did it, 18 times 5 is 9,000, which is just enough to build a big, beautiful school in Kenya for kids just like them on the other side of the world. And I have just enough time to tell you a quick story about one of the classes I went into. I was walking around giving these $100 bills away. It was hilarious. And the kids, I walked into a class, a grade 2 class, so picture 7-year-olds, all cross-legged on the floor, and they gave me this stupid little chair to sit in, and I sat in it. And I said to the kids, okay, you guys, what are your ideas? How are you going to turn this $100 into $500 for charity? It's going to be amazing. And the teacher said, well, we're already prepared for you. And they had this flip chart. She flips up in this flip chart, and it's got the regular basic ideas: bake sale, lemonade stand, candy counting contest, pizza night. And then right near the bottom, it says Dylan's Plays and Stories. And I went, who's Dylan? And this kid at the back, I'll show you this. This kid at the back, sitting totally nonchalant, separated from the rest of the group, goes, and I said, Dylan, what are your plays and stories, buddy? And he goes, gets up. All the kids look up at him like, yes, Dylan's gonna talk. And he starts pacing. He says, well, I've written a couple books. This guy's 7. I've written a couple books and plays, pretty successful. And I've written a play for all the kids to perform. And the kids are going, yeah. And for all the kids to perform, we're gonna charge $50 a head. We'll probably get it done in a night. Like this. And that and dozens of other stories like it taught me more about people's true motivations behind giving, because I learned more from this group of wide, open-minded, creative children than I ever could from a socially conditioned group of adults. After doing these 3 experiments, I came up with a formula of 5 motivators behind giving that I believe, when combined correctly, will not only motivate anyone to give, but will make them happy, excited, and thank you for getting them to give in the first place. And those 5 motivators are, number 1, group mentality. We love to be part of a group, whether it's teammates or coworkers or family or friends, and people are far more apt to give when they know they're part of a group because of that kind of peer pressure mentality. Number 2, tangible outcome. Whether it's buying a goat or digging a well or building a school, people love to see a visual representation for their giving. This amount of money went to this, and I changed the world with this. It feels really good, so it's a huge motivator behind giving. And number 3, micro-giving. This is what I was talking about in that marathon of giving contest, because Megan, when she asked people to pledge, she didn't ask for people to pledge $300 or $400 at a time. She asked people to do what she called give a marathon. And what that means is she asked people to give $4.20 a day, the price of an expensive latte, for 42 days, because there's 42 kilometers in a marathon, 42 days. And she said that was the secret behind her success. She said that people could relate to $4.20 a day far better than they could ever relate to a big chunk of $300 or $400. And number 4 is personal connection. This was best reflected in Zach's Facebook post, in that if you read the comments below his Facebook post, everyone who donated commented saying, I'm giving $5, I'm giving $20, whatever. Nothing mentions the cause. All it says is, thank you for getting us involved in this, Zach. You're the best, Zach. We'll get involved in anything you do, Zach. Zach, Zach, Zach. Nothing about the cause. which, on a serious note, is what I think is not wrong, but has evolved in the traditional model of fundraising, in that we are caused out as humans. You know what I mean? There's an application called Facebook Causes. The thing that makes it work is saying that your cause is worse than the next cause, and then worse than the next cause, and showing like Photoshop pictures of kids, you know what I mean, to really make you feel bad, which I don't really like. And I realized that us as a society, we're numb to this because we've been inundated by it for decades. So I realized that the relationship between the potential donor and the fundraiser themselves is far more important than the cause. And number 5 is recognition. This was very evident in the early entrepreneurs experiment because kids are very honest with what motivates them. They love recognition. I think us as adults love recognition as well, but we've been conditioned to say that we don't. And I love recognition in giving for 2 big reasons. Number 1, it correlates a really good emotion to the act of giving, making people far more apt to give more and continuously in the future. And number 2, recognizing people for giving inspires other people to give, and recognizing them inspires other people to give, et cetera, et cetera. So those 5 again are: number 1, group mentality; number 2, tangible outcome; number 3, micro-giving; 4, personal connection; and 5, recognition. So after I had this group of 5, this formula of 5 motivators, I had to test it. So I created the most thought out, yet casual sounding text message ever written, and I wrote it to 15 of my friends, and it said, you, me, and a bunch of our friends are gonna get together to build a school in Kenya for hundreds of deserving kids. We're all gonna give $3.33 a day for 3 quick months. I know you spend more than that on hair product every month. There's a site being made with your picture on it. Your mom is gonna be so proud. And if you look at that a bit closer, it has all 5 of those motivators in it. You and me, personal connection, and a bunch of our friends, group mentality, are going to get together to build a school in Kenya, tangible outcome for hundreds of deserving kids. We're all giving $3.33 a day, micro-giving for 3 quick months. I know you spend more than that on hair product every month. That's just a fact with my friends. There's a site being made with your picture on it, and your mom is gonna be so proud. After sending this to 15 of my friends, these are the results the replies that I got. Yes, I'm in, done. How do we pay? And my personal favorite from my friend Pete, I guess I'll look like a dick if I don't do it, so count me in. It worked. After this was 15 people, $3.33 a day for 3 months. I realized that I just raised $5,000 from a text message. A little bit more would be enough to build one of those beautiful schools in Kenya for hundreds of deserving kids from a 67-word text. My head was exploding with how easy this was, and I knew that I was just a huge step forward toward my goal of getting my friends involved on their terms and wanting to get involved. So I partnered up with a friend of mine who's a brilliant graphic designer named Steven Zazula, and we made a video, an animated video. I don't have time to show it all to you, but the video said how it was $3.33 a day, how it was building a school, how there was a whole bunch of a group of us doing it, and that we'd give them certificates for doing it, for that recognition factor. The only thing that was missing from this was the real personal connection. So before sending any of my friends the videos, I filmed 33 10-second clips of me individually to each friend that I was going to send it to, saying, for example, John, you're amazing. How'd you get all these good-looking people here at TEDx? We're going to change the world tonight. This is how it's going to work. That would lead into the 4-minute video. And then we put the combination of those videos, right at the top of a donation page. So people would watch the video. It's all encrypted. It's a secure site. and they didn't have to click anything. They'd be inspired from the video, they just scroll down a little bit, enter information, so within 1 minute of watching the video, they could click Let's Build a School, and they'd be done. I sent it out to 33 friends and acquaintances, and with what took me 3 hours to do, to narrate over the animated video, to film my short videos, I'd raised $10,000 to build a school in Kenya. Thanks. But the cool thing about this is it doesn't have to be people close to me. Anyone can do this. We've made a website that anyone can build a school in 3 hours in 4 simple steps. Step 1, you enter the friends that you want to have take part. Step 2, you pick the country in the world that you want to build your school in. Step 3, you film those little personal videos to establish that really good connection with each friend that you're sending it to. Step 4, you sit back and watch your friends' elation and $10,000 come in to build a school anywhere in the world that you want. Now, all of this can be summed up in a really brilliant quote by Margaret Mead. It says, "Never doubt that a group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed is the only thing that ever has." Thank you.